Dear viewer, welcome back to our channel. Today, we are here with a very serious topic which has sparked discussion and debate in social media regarding wrong practices tourists are facing in Nepal. But before we begin, we kindly ask you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, ensuring you won't miss any of our compelling content in the future. In a recent travel video, a tourist traveling in Nepal shared his experience of being charged 800 Nepali rupee for a public vehicle ride, while locals paid only 500 Nepali rupee. The tourist was upset, but he had no choice, so he had to pay more for same service than the locals. This incident ignited a debate about the fairness of such practices. In many tourist spots in Nepal, it's common for tourists to pay higher prices for goods, services, and attractions. This includes entrance fees to historical sites, prices at restaurants, and even the cost of souvenirs. Let's take a closer look at some specific examples. At Kathmandu Darbar Square, including the Tribhuvan Museum, foreigners pay $7.5 to US, while BIMSTEC nationals pay $3.76 US. Locals, on the other hand, can visit for free. At Patan Darbar Square, the entrance fee for foreigners is also $7.5 to US. For BIMSTEC nationals, it's $1.88 US, free for locals but 23 cents for locals to visit Patan Museum. Even daily expenses show significant differences. For instance, locals pay 200 Nepali rupee, about $1.50 US for meals, while tourists pay 500 Nepali rupee, about $3 US. Local transportation costs 400 Nepali rupee, which is about $3 US for tourists, but locals pay only 200 Nepali rupee. Similarly, hotels can cost tourists around $34 US, which is much more than locals might pay. This brings us to the big question: why are tourists charged more in Nepal? Is Nepal ripping off its guests? Is this a form of scamming? The country, where guest is regarded as God, is doing wrong to its guests? Lots of questions, and now it's high time to discuss on this. Why is this difference between local versus tourist pricing structure in place? Is it fair? Today, we delve into the reasons behind local price versus tourist price. Before discussing about Nepal, let's see what others Asian countries are doing. First, let's look at India. The Taj Mahal, a world-renowned monument, charges tourists 1,000 Indian rupees, which is about $12 US. However, locals only pay 40 Indian rupees, equivalent to just 48 cents. Next, we have the Red Fort in Agra. Here, tourists are charged 550 Indian rupees, around $6.6 to US. Meanwhile, locals enjoy the same experience for only 40 Indian rupees or 48 cents. Cambodia adopts a similar approach. The magnificent Khmer temples of Angkor Archaeological Park are free for Cambodian citizens. But for tourists, the entrance fees are $37 US for 1 day, $62 US for 3 days, and $72 US for 7 days. In Thailand, the smallest parks charge foreigners 100 baht compared to 20 baht for locals. Moving to Indonesia, the iconic Borobudur temple charges tourists $25 US, while locals pay just $3 US, making it 8 times more expensive for tourists. In Sri Lanka, the Pinnawala Elephant Orphanage charges international visitors about $9 US, whereas locals pay a mere 36 cents, making it 28 times more expensive for tourists. Why there is so much difference between local and tourist fees? Let's dive into the justifications for this practice and understand its implications. First and foremost, a citizen of any country has the full right to experience their homeland. A Nepali person has the inherent right to travel and visit various places within Nepal. Charging locals at some sites could be seen as infringing on these basic rights. Local places such as monuments, temples, shrines, and other religiously significant sites are integral to the personal beliefs and cultural identity of local Nepalese people. Charging locals to access these places can be unreasonable. Due to this, giving free access to locals is essential for their cultural and religious practices. This is one main reason why many places in most Asian countries allow locals to enter for free. Now you might wonder, shouldn't all places be free for locals? Why do locals have to pay at places like museums, national parks, and heritage sites, while tourists pay more than double for the same? The answer is to maintain and preserve these places. Higher fees for international tourists help fund these expenses, allowing locals to enjoy these wonders at a more affordable rate. But why should tourists bear the extra burden for the maintenance of another country's parks and sites? The answer is differences in income of local and tourists. The average annual income of a Nepali person is $1,456. In contrast, the average weekly earnings of an American citizen is approximately $1,115.17. So, in just 2 weeks, an American earns more than a Nepali person does in an entire year. In the UK, people earn €2,465 in a month after tax deductions, which is 1.8 times more than the total annual earnings of a Nepali person. The average salary in Nepal and other Asian countries is substantially lower than in many Western countries. A good meal in a luxurious restaurant in West can be equal to a room rent and daily expenses for a month for a Nepali person. Additionally, a local Nepali person pays taxes to government. That tax amount contributes to the preservation and maintenance of these tourist sites. Thus, they are already contributing financially to those tourist heritages. Given that, a Western tourist earns more in a week than a Nepali person does in a year, so paying slightly more to enter Nepali sites should not be an issue. Traveling to a country with a lower GDP and paying a higher price to view centuries-old monuments is completely fair. Tourist dollars play a crucial role in boosting the local economy. The higher fees paid by tourists support local businesses, create jobs, and stimulate economic growth. In this light, the higher prices paid by tourists contribute positively to the local community. This is the reason why, in Nepal and other Asian countries, tourists need to pay higher for everything in compared to locals. Now, you might think that only in Asia guests are charged more. That's not true. This happens all over the world. Tourists usually pay more than locals, even in Western countries. But it's presented differently. In Western countries, it's shown as locals getting a discount, not tourists paying more. In France, tourists pay €16 to visit the Arc de Triomphe, while EU residents under 26 get in for free. At the Louvre, general admission is €22, but it's free for those under 18 and EU residents under 26. In Spain, the Plaza de España has been free for everyone, but now the city is considering an entry fee for tourists. The Roman Theatre of Merida charges €12 to €15 for entry, but it's free for local residents. The Sagrada Familia charges €19 for tourists and €12.73 for EU citizens. The Cathedral of Seville charges €17 for tourists and €5 for locals. Similarly, the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba charges €13 for tourists and offers discounts to European Youth Card holders and free for local residents. In Italy, starting in 2024, anyone visiting Venice will need to pay a €5 fee to enter the city. This fee will help maintain tourist sites. Additionally, some Western countries charge the same prices for both locals and tourists, but they impose a tourist tax that visitors must pay. In Amsterdam, the Royal Palace entry fee is €12.50 for everyone, but tourists pay an additional 12.5% tax. Hawaii is proposing a $25 climate fee for tourists to protect the environment. In Canada, tourists pay various taxes on goods and services, including a tourism tax in Alberta and various other provinces. New Canadian citizens and permanent residents get free access to many museums and parks for a year. Therefore, tourists paying more is a normal worldwide phenomenon. But there's a positive example from Nepal. Buddha Air and Yeti Airlines, domestic airlines in Nepal, have reduced its domestic flight rates for tourists, and now they pay same as locals. This is done to encourage more tourists to travel within Nepal. Hope our video helped you understand why tourists paying more than locals is justifiable and a fair deal. So, the next time you're traveling in Nepal or any other part of the world, remember that the extra money you spend helps support local communities, protect the environment, and keep the destinations you love thriving. Embrace the experience, enjoy the journey, and know that you're contributing to something bigger. If you like our hard work, please kindly support us. Please like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel.